Someone said she can't hear. Can you hear me now? I think this wasn't connected. Please let me know if you can hear me now. I think my earpiece wasn't connected. That is why. Someone said volume. Hi, Mrs. Peace Obiora. So let me confirm from my end. Please, can you hear me now? Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Please let me confirm that this stream is going well from my end. Hello? Yes. Awesome. Okay, the volume is up now. Thank you. I didn't connect my earpiece earlier. So welcome to the How to Teach Your Child to Read Like a Pro Masterclass. All I need you to do is to please take the link that has been sent to you in the groups where you are. Just share it to your friends, share it on your status. This class is going to open your eyes, particularly for parents who don't just know where to start. This class is going to be that class that will take you from give you the basics of teaching your child to read. Hi Aqua, welcome. Hi Ijoma Enwerem, welcome. Hi Onyinye, Onyinye is listening from Uyo, welcome. So please tell us for the next 1 minute while we do some housekeeping, just let me know where you're listening to this session from. I am in the beautiful city of Uyo. Where are you listening to this session from? I would really appreciate it. While I share my screen in a bit. Hi, Precious Simon. Welcome. Please ensure you stay to the end of this stream. I'm going to ensure that this stream is straight to the point, no fluff, no unnecessary grammar. So please ensure that you stay to the end of this stream. Okay, I'm trying to call up my slide. Just trying to call up my slide. Hi, Onyeka, Ma Onyeka from Lagos. Welcome. Ibukun is from Ogun State. Aqua is from Ghana. The network is poor and there is no sound. Apologies for that. Please let me hear your feedback. Is the network poor from your end? And do you have good sound on your end? If the video is blurry, you might consider increasing your video quality. Go to the settings on your top right. You're going to see quality just under increase to 360p. Increase to 360p and you'll have an issue streaming. We have 21 amazing parents on the live stream. That is fantastic. So please give me a second to call up my slide. I will be with you shortly. So just give me a second so I call up my slide. I'll be with you shortly. Hi from England. Thank you so much. Welcome. So please give me a second. I'm having a little bit of a glitch here. So I call up my slide. I'll be with you in a bit. I'm still with you. I just need to call up my slide. And we'll get this ball rolling shortly. Okay. Okay, I guess we are back. Hi, everyone. Yes, we are back. Please let me know if you can hear me now. Hi, everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me. I had a little bit of a network glitch there. Welcome, welcome. Please let me know if you can hear me now. We should be back on screen now. So please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me and let me know what you can see on your screen. Hi, everyone. So please let me know if you can hear me. Hi, Jamila. Jamila, please help me confirm if you can hear me. Hello, Jamila. Yes, awesome. Welcome, everyone. I am super, super, super delighted to be here. I must apologize for the initial glitch we had somewhere. We are back on screen now. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to this masterclass on how to teach your child to read like a pro. I can see 31 people joining this stream. That is amazing. So, welcome. Please go to the group, go to the communities, and tell them that we have started. Now, to get this ball rolling, I would like to introduce myself because I know that I have tons of you who have never met me before, or probably you just came across this session. Um, you just came across this session on via an ad and you're wondering who is this lady talking to us. My name is Precious James Ogbonna. I am an award-winning educator. I have over 10 years experience in teaching children. I started all the way in 2013. I'm a certified synthetic phonics educator. I am privileged to be the founding director of Learn Preparatory Schools. I am the founder of learnage.ng, which is under its umbrella we are hosting this webinar. I'm also a team member at the foremost parenting academy in Africa, which is the Intentional Parent Academy. And most importantly, I am your family teacher. So far, since 2020, I have trained close to 1,000 parents, whether it's through my free ebooks, my free classes, my paid classes, but the number of parents I have trained so far should be somewhere around almost 1,000 parents at this point. And I've also helped close to 500 children learn to read in the past 5 years. So if there's anybody who you should be listening to on the authority of teaching your child to read, I bet I should be top on that list. I should be top on that list. Now, why do I say that I'm your family teacher? All along, I have thought of fancy ways of introducing myself as a family teacher, and I have not found that particular phrase that explains it perfectly. But in 2020, after helping tons of parents during the lockdown, they began calling me their family teacher because during the lockdown, I was literally hand holding a lot of parents, to help navigate homeschooling that period. That's how I got the name family teacher. And it's simply the only way to explain it is simple. One, you know how you have a family doctor when you're sick. For those of you that were from bougie homes, you have a family doctor. When you're sick, when the kids are sick, you send them to a family doctor. I am like a family doctor, but in this case, I'm a teacher. That teacher you just need to have in your corner to get you started with whatever it has to do with your child's learning, especially between the ages of 1 to 10. So that is who I am to you. Now, this masterclass is going to show you what to do to help your child read. Now, before I start, I would like to explain further why I do what I do as regards helping parents teach their children to read. Now, in my work, I have found this concept in a lot of parents. It's simply the concept is a psychological phenomenon called learned helplessness. A lot of times, parents feel, from my interaction with them, they feel that they don't know what to do to help their children learn. I have met parents who have struggling learners, who have children who are not meeting up, who have children who are really struggling with learning, but they do not know what to do. And I find in psychology that this is called learned helplessness. It is simply a psychological phenomenon that occurs when individuals feel powerless and unable to control or influence their situation, even when the opportunities change or improvements are present. A lot of parents, especially parents who have children who are struggling, especially busy parents, they would always tell me that, look, Coach Precious, I don't know what to do for my child. I can't help my child. I don't know how to teach. My child will not help. My child will not listen to me. My child will not do this. My child will not do this. And it's almost as if their hands are tied. It's almost as if, when they say these things, I try to put myself in their shoes. And up till now, I have not been able to. You cannot relegate something as important as your child's academic journey to a third party. I want us to write this in the comment section. You cannot relegate something as important as your child's academic journey to a third party. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you are a doctor, if you are a lawyer, if you are an influencer, whatever you do, if you're a business person. You cannot relegate, you can't give total control of your child's academic journey to a third party. You can't do that. A lot of children are struggling simply because their parents are doing this. Once parents pick up their accounts, they pick up their checks, they pay the school, they literally hands off. They're like, I've paid you, do the job of teaching my child. But from experience, I have realized that this does not work. Parental involvement is the number one predictor of academic success in any child. Parental involvement is the number one predictor of academic success in any child. In any child's academic journey, parental involvement. Now, this for me has gone beyond to what I have learned from experience. Someone says she can't hear a word. Please let me confirm if you can hear me. Sally has just put in a chat. So let me know if you can hear me. Parental involvement is the number one predictor of academic success in the lives of children. Now, if parental involvement is so important, I can't hear anything. Wow. Sorry, guys, I was muted. I was muted. My sincere apologies. I am back now. I was muted for the longest time. I'm back now. You can hear me. Thank you. I was muted. Now, I was saying that parental involvement is the number one predictor of academic success in children. So, if parental involvement is so important, why are we relegating the responsibility, the total responsibility of enabling our children learn to a third party? Parents literally exercise learn helplessness. They're just, I see their hands are tied. I cannot help my child. You're looking at your child struggling. You're looking at an important aspect of your child's life and development. Academic progress and academic competence is the first feeling of satisfaction that children have before they begin to achieve every other thing. You know that feeling that the child does a test and they pass? That is where confidence is. Children begin to pick confidence. That is how children begin to learn to be confident. The fact that they could understand, the fact that they could speak up. I find a lot via my experience that when children struggle with learning, it affects their confidence. I had a parent bring the child. I mentioned in the introduction that I'm the founder director of Learning Preparatory School. It's a young school in Oyo Akwa Ibom State. Now, a parent brought her daughter to me in September. And Miss Ijoma, the child's teacher, should be on this call. Glory was the most timid child I had probably have come across in my line of work. And what caused this timidity? She just couldn't learn. Yes, you can't relegate. You can't relegate to a third party. This girl struggled with reading. She struggled with maths. Now, within the term one, what we began to see improvement in her learning, her confidence went up. Miss Ijoma, please, if you're in this call, help me type to affirm what I just said. And right now, I cannot believe the child that we have in our hands right now. The same goes for my daughter. Just the fact that she's beginning to read, Just the fact that she's beginning to understand learning, I find she's more enthusiastic towards school. So the first feeling of confidence, achievement that children have starts with academic competencies. So you can't fold your hands and your child is struggling and you're exercising learn helplessness. I don't know what to do. You get lesson teacher one flops you, lesson teacher two, they flop you, lesson teacher three, and you're still seeing your child struggle. If you're in this call, I need you to sit up. Learning is not a one-size-fits-all process. Different children learn differently. This is the core reason why children struggle in school. The reason is simple. When they get to school, children are boxed up. There is a curriculum, there is a scheme of work, there is a routine, there is a structure, there's the way things are done. So for a particular group of learners who would learn in a particular way and in a different way as opposed to the typical traditional classroom, guess what happens? They begin to suffer. So we have a lot of kinesthetic and visual learners suffering in the classroom. And to be honest, as an educator, there is very little tons of educators can do. Please, can you tell me in the comment section what an educator who has 25, 30 children to herself can do to help your child who is a divergent learner? This is why I would not stop advocating for parental involvement. If you're on this call, you need to stand up to the responsibility. Paying fees, according to my boss, Coach Wendy Olege, she would say that paying school fees is a minimum entry requirement. Nobody dashed you those babies. You know what you did and you brought them to this earth. It is left for you to take on the responsibility. So when parents walk in and say, I've paid the fees, I'm like, nah, that's not enough. In my line of work since 2020, I have worked with some of the most amazing involved parents. Parental involvement doesn't need to take all of your time. You just need to be strategic with what you do. I am laying this foundation. So when we start the talks on how to help your child read like a pro, you see that a bulk of the responsibility is in your hand. And the magic and the beauty of the frameworks I'm able to create along my line of work is that you are able to do these things along your parenting journey. Last week, I sent out a homeschooling plan to a parent, and I told her all you need to do to help this child thrive is 10 minutes in a day. That's all. You don't need to dedicate 1 hour. You're batting the child, you're with that child. On the drive, you're with that child. If you're taking a walk, you're with that child. On your way to church, you're with that child. Your child can learn maths. Your child can learn English, literacy, numeracy, letter work, just by the everyday, day-to-day activities. But the only thing holding you is that you don't know what to do. And that is my work as a family teacher. I don't like when I say this. It is my work as a family teacher to show you what to do. Now let's move to the core of today, which is how to teach your child to read like a pro. Now, let's look at why children need to be taught to read systematically. Let's look at why children need to be taught to read systematically. Okay? Let's look at why children need to be taught to read systematically. Now, learning to read is a critical milestone for every child. In fact, during the time that starts on Friday, I would show parents how learning to read early can affect their child's brain. How learning to read early can influence a child's intelligence. If you got my book, How the ABCs of Teaching Your Child to Read, when it launched for free, you would see where I gave you reasons why learning to read early can help your child thrive academically. But of course, that's not the reason why we're here today. Now, learning to read is a crucial milestone in a child's development. As parents, we delve into common mistakes. There are a lot of mistakes that we make when we need to teach children. But learning to read is not a eye to paper thing. It's not you give a child a book, they cram, they use the long language method to learn to read. That is not how children learn to read. There has to be a systematic approach to teaching your child to read. Now, English is one of the most difficult languages to learn to read in today's world. Now, unlike some other languages that have a consistent letter sound correspondence, English is not like that. English has various phonetic patterns, exceptions, and irregularities. And this complexity can make reading quite difficult for your child. Now, if you know a little bit about the English language, you would realize that English has 26 letters. English has 26 letters and 44 letter sounds. So what we used to read are the sounds, but what a lot of children know are the letters. The letters are the grapheme representations, like what you have on your screen that says teach your child to read. What you're seeing are the letters. But what enables you read what you're seeing on the screen are the sounds you consciously or unconsciously know. Now, if a child is going to be able to read, they must know two things. They must know the letter names and the letter sounds. Let me see it in the comment section. If a child is going to learn to read, they're going to know two things. One, the letter names. Two, the letter sounds. Now, but the English language is so complex that even if we have 26 letters, we have 44 sounds. And these 44 sounds are represented in words using the 26 letters. Meanwhile, in languages like Spanish, it is not like that. In languages like Spanish, there is something called letter sound correspondence. Let me go back to my slides so I show you what I mean in the slides. Now, in the Spanish language, once children learn the sounds, those sounds are typically associated with the letters. So if A says A in apple, in aeroplane, A won't switch to A. It will still retain the A. In O, AW, the A there won't move from A to O. In awesome, the A there will stick. The letter sound correspondence and coordination is same. This is why the Spanish language and Finnish language and Italian language are easy to learn, because they don't have the disparity of 26 letters and 44 letter sounds. They're consistent, meaning that the letters typically have a consistent pronunciation, and the same letter or combination of letters tend to produce the same sound across different words. Please follow me. You would get this in a bit. But in English, it is not like that. Now, imagine your child, put your child in the shoes, where your child is learning the word THROUGH for the first time. This word spells or is pronounced through. Now, at first glance, the child might be able to read it. Maybe they've come across it before. So they go through. But these same letter sounds that we find here, when we see them in other words, follow a different sound pattern that could confuse a child. For instance, the th in through is pronounced as a blend. But remember, you've taught your child that T says T and H says H, and you've not taught them about other sound patterns and other alternative spelling of sounds. So when they say the word through, they go T, Th, H, H, R, till they get to the last H, which is H, and they try to blend it. It doesn't make sense. Do you see that disparity? Now, the th in through is pronounced as a blend, producing a unique sound that doesn't directly correspond with the initial sounds T and H. Now, this deviation from the expected sound can cause confusion and require additional explanation, and also require additional exposure of another different set or another pattern of sounds for a child to be able to read. Now, furthermore, we're not just looking at the TH again. Other things present a hurdle in helping your child read. For instance, the trigraph OUGH is pronounced differently. In the word THROUGH, it's pronounced ooh, through. But in the word TOUGH, it is pronounced of, tough. It's pronounced of. In the word THOUGH, it's pronounced oh, that is though. And in the word PLOUGH, it is pronounced ow, plow. Now, how do you explain to a child who, when they were learning through, learned it as ooh, and now they've come across it in another word, tough? All of a sudden, it's giving the off sound. They now made it in another word, though. It's now giving the O sound. And you don't made it in another word, plow. It's giving the ow sound. Now, these irregularities can be very, very challenging for young learners. This is why I said earlier that teaching children to read needs to follow a systematic approach. Teaching children to read needs to follow a systematic approach. You cannot depend on just teaching children the 44 sounds. You would need to teach a different pattern. You would need to teach a different approach. You would need to teach different rules. You would need to teach about the silent letters. You would need to teach about the letters that are at the end of a word that are silent. You would even need to teach tricky words that don't apply to these sounds at all. Do you now see the reason why your children will typically struggle with reading? Because of these complexities. But of course, we're not going to delve into how you could navigate this advanced reading because of time. The next thing we're going to begin to look at are the mistakes that we make when teaching children to read. We've already established the irregularities in teaching children to read. Can you hear me now? Apologies. Yeah, the network should be back in a bit. You should be able to hear me now. So I'll continue as soon as I get your feedback that you can hear me. I will continue as soon as I get your feedback that you can hear me. Hello, everyone. So sorry, I needed to change my network positioning to where I could get network better because there was a lot of complaints about network. So please let me know if you can hear me now. I'm guessing the network might be better here. So please let me know if you can hear me now. Hello, guys. Sincere apologies. It rained the whole day, and I guess you can hear me now. Thank you. Thank you. So is it better? Has the lagging stopped? Sincere apologies. Has the lagging stopped? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for still being here. Thank you so much. So let's get the ball rolling. So the next thing we're now going to look at are the mistakes that parents make when teaching their children to read. We've looked at how complex learning the English language is and why there must be an intentional method to teaching children to read. Now, a lot of times when we learned to read, we used the whole language method, where to learn to read the word mistakes, we just spelled mistakes. You keep repeating it till you mastered it. But in today's world, it no longer works like that. A particular quote I love, if I'm allowed to paraphrase, says that if a child learns to cram 10 words, they would only be able to learn 10 words. But if a child learns about 10 sounds, they will probably be able to read up to 500 words, no matter how those sounds present themselves in words. So English is very complicated and complex, and there has to be an intentionality on your part to teaching your child to read. So let's look at the 5 mistakes parents make when teaching their children to read. I'll go from 5 all the way to 1. Number 1, neglecting the challenging nature of the English language. We've already looked at it, how the 26, the letter sound disparity and the non-coordination between the letters and the sounds available and how they present themselves in text can affect the way children learn to read. Number 2 would be focusing on capital letters over lowercase letters. I would explain all of this in details. The next would be teaching letters in alphabetical order. The next would be teaching letter sounds, letter names instead of letter sounds. The next would be ignoring phonemic awareness. Now, we've gotten to my favorite part of every class. This right here is my favorite part of every class. We're going to do this fun activity. If you've attended any of my classes on teaching children to read, you will know this exercise. So guys, I need you to attempt to read this word. If you also got my book on how to teach your child to read, the ABCs of teaching your child to read, you would have come across this exercise. Now, hi Jamila, please help me share the link for parents to come on live with me in the groups now. So in the next couple of minutes, we're going to share a live streaming link with you. So all I need you to do is to come on live with me. You don't have to turn on your video. All I need is your audio. If you're decent enough to come on live, I would love to see your beautiful face. So I need you to come up on the stream with me to read this word right on your stream at the moment. So who is going to take on the challenge? I just need you to come on the stream to attempt to read this word. Now, if you check your dictionary, you're not going to find this word. I made up this word as I was working on the slide. You can even see the smiley emoji there. You could already see the smiley emoji. So Jamila, please give me a thumbs up if you have sent it to the group. Please send me a thumbs up. Have you checked the group? Check any of the groups you are. You're going to find a link to the live streaming. As soon as you come up, I'm going to take you on. So you will just attempt to read. Your video doesn't need to be on. All we just want to hear is your voice. Guys, please don't tell me you're rejecting. Who wants to take on the challenge with me to just read this word that has no meaning, but you'll be able to read it. I can almost swear that nobody in this call has seen this word ever. You might have seen the sound combinations. You might have seen the phrases, but you might even seen the first word anthropological. But I swear you've not seen it as long as this ever. I made up this word. I'm the inventor. I should trademark it. So please come up here on the stream. Jamila, please let me know if you've pasted the link. I've not seen anybody yet. Yeah, so please come up on the screen and read the word for us. Come up on your screen and read the word for us. Okay? Hi, Jamila. Have you been able to post it? So give me a second. Let me ensure that we've posted it. Jamila, please give me a thumbs up in the comment section if you've done the posting. Yes, she has. So please check the group you're in, whether it's the wait list or the group for this session. You're going to see a link that starts with streamyard.com/. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, sis. Now you're going to see that link. I'm also going to paste it on the How to Teach Your Child to Read group. Jamila, the How to Teach Your Child to Read group is open now. I didn't know it wasn't open before. So please tell me post it there. So who is going to Smiley, there's a link now. There is a link now. So help me check. There's a link now. Okay, if you're in the group, the link should come up for you too. Jamila, you can now post in the other group. You can now post in the other group. Yeah, somebody's on the stream with me. Okay. Hi, Inemesit. Good evening.
Hi, Precious. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Welcome. I can hear you. I can hear you. So let me pop it up. Thank you so much for taking the challenge. Thank you. So that is the word of the stream. Please try to read it.
So it's anthropological faculty trilinicatology.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we have, I'm going to let you go now. Thank you so much. So we have another person by Smiley. Hi, Smiley.
Hi.
Welcome to the stream. So please try to read the word. Smiley is my sister, by the way.
Anthropological faculty catology.
Thank you so much, Smiley. Thank you. So who else is going to come? If I have two more people, I will if I have two more people, then we're done. I'm going to explain to you how these individuals are able to read this word, even if they have never been able to read it before. Even if, sorry, I meant to say, even if they have never come across this word before in their lives. Like I'm the inventor. You have to write it there. Inventor of the word. Someone says it says error. No, it shouldn't say error because we have people. I have Joan Jonathan. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, we can hear you. How you doing? So
I'm
can you
fine.
try to read the word? Let's see.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Come again.
Can you attempt to read the word on your screen?
Okay, it says anthropological fa catology.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on live with me. Hi, Babalola Favor. Favor is on. So Favor is going to be the last person. Thank you for taking me on this challenge. So Favor, you have the floor.
Anthropological philanthropologist.
Where did you say philanthropila? Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, how were these people able to read this word? How were they able? You could leave the stream now. Thank you. Now, how were these guys who have never in their lives come across this word before? Like I told you guys, they should trademark it. Precious James Ogbonna is the inventor of the word. Like this word, I can't find it. I just came up with it. But the only reason you were able to read this word is because of your conscious or unconscious knowledge of your sounds. Every of this word has sounds in them. I can see single letter sounds. I can see trigraphs like kwa. I can see digraphs. I can see just different patterns. I can see different alternative sounds. For example, I can see a CV blend. I can see a VC blend. Now, you're only able to read this word simply because of your knowledge of your sounds. So I have people that are coming on. So let me just take them on quickly. Hi, Helen. Can you hear me? Since Helen is not on, so Helen is going to go. Hi, Reina. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, so please can you try to read the word? Someone said she can read it. It should be on your screen.
Anthropological faculty.
Thank you so much. You must have had an A in English. Thank you. Now, the only reason these individuals who have never come across this word ever before, the only reason they are able to read it is because of their knowledge of their sounds. Is because of their knowledge of their sounds. So, for a child to be able to read, for a child to be able to decode words, they must have a knowledge of their sounds. There is no reading ever without a knowledge of sound. I want to see it in the comment section. There is no reading. No reading happens if individuals do not have the knowledge of sounds. Individuals now include children, adults, teenagers, grandpas, grandmas. So the foundation of learning to read is understanding and the ability to discriminate between letter names and letter sounds. So the mistake number one is this. One common mistake parents make when teaching their child to read is focusing on the letter names rather than the letter sounds. So I saw this mom who was doing a fantastic job, but she was bragging that her child could now read his letters A to Z. And somewhere within me, I was cringing because that amazing 1-year-old had no reason learning their letter names. Now, I love to ask you this question. Can you think of any other thing we use letter names to do? Apart from representing sounds in words. Is there any purpose that letter names serve in teaching children to read? Is there any other purpose that letter names serve in teaching children to read? I can bet you there is no purpose that letter names serve except the graphical representation on text. So when you're still, the reason why you were able to read that long word I invented, that a lot of us came up on board to read, the only reason you were able to read it was because of your conscious or unconscious knowledge of your sound. So in teaching children to read, our focus should be on teaching the letter sounds and not the letter names. Children between the ages of 1 to 3, to a large extent, have no business learning the letter names. The knowledge of the letter name can in fact conflict your child's ability to read in the long run when they now need to be able to read. The knowledge of the letter names I've just said can conflict your child's ability to read. When you now begin to expose them to blending, like a TV blendings, they have to do the the. And what they know is BA. How does BA equate to ba? How does CA equate to ka? If the knowledge of the letter names is not important, I feel strongly that we put unnecessary emphasis on learning the letter names. I see schools do it. I see individuals do it. I see parents do it. Please, if you're in this call, this might be the reason why your child is struggling to read. So rather than focusing on letter names, focus on letter sounds. Let me see it in the comment section. Rather than focusing on letter names, focus on letter sounds. If you have a 1-year-old, if you have a 2-year-old, if you have a 3-year-old, rather than focusing on letter names, please let your whole focus be on sounds. So rather than playing Coco Melon and playing the ABCD song, A, B, C, D, focus on A, B, K, D. It's still the same way you teach the letter names. That's how you teach letter sounds. So probably you're using a flashcard. The same way you will go, this is A. That is the same way you will go, this is A. The same way you will go, this is B. That is the same way you will go, this is B. The same way you will go, this is C. That is the same way you will go, this is K. So the focus should be on letter names and not on letter sounds. Sorry, the focus should be on letter sounds and not on letter names. So I know someone here is asking, okay, what if I have been teaching my child letter names? When I say letter names, I mean the alphabet. I mean our A's, I mean our B's, I mean our C's. Now, someone here is asking, what if I have been teaching my child the letter names? They know their A, they know the B, they know the C. Do now take it a step further to explain that every letter has two things. Every letter has two things. What we do in Lenville at this time, we're just about 6-7 months. What we do, we go every letter has two things, the letter name, letter sound, because I found that when our pupils came, a lot of them had already been exposed to the alphabet, and it was just a waste of time trying to revamp everything they know by introducing sound. So we went this other route I'm exposing to you, simply teaching them so they know that letters have two things. They have the letter names and the letter sounds. We use the letter names to identify the sounds. We also use the letter names to tell what sound this is. We simply use the letter names for representation. Now, the sound is the core. The sound is the most important thing. The sound is the most important thing that we need while teaching children to read. So there is the name and there is the sound. So it's just like your name and your surname. My name is Precious. My surname is Ogbonna. So if I'm teaching children, I'll tell them, look at me. For example, I'm teaching my daughter, I'll go, this is mommy. Mommy has two names, Precious and Ogbonna. That is how every alphabet has two things. The letter name, A, and the sound, A. So we've come up with, what we did was to come up with this chant, A is the name and A is the sound. So instead of just focusing on A, we put it together. B is the name and B is the sound. It's just a very simple chant they do. S is the name and S is the sound. So rather than just teaching A, do just sounds. This is A, this is B, this is K, this is D, this is E. Or if you've already introduced alphabets to your child, you blend it together. Letters have a name and letters have a sound. So A is the name and A is the sound. This is if you've already introduced alphabets to your children. So when you've gone from introducing, excuse me, when you've gone from introducing the letter names and the sounds, as you go, you transition from introducing the letter names and the sounds and focusing on just the sounds. Because we use sounds to read, not letter names. The focus should be on sounds. Am I saying that children should not learn their alphabet? No. They should learn it. They would require it for identification and for understanding letter representations. But along the line, the focus should be on the sound. I have seen children who I'm teaching to read, children who have delay in reading, and they start attempting to read, and you bring up a word, and the child starts from A and T. And you say, no, use your sound. So there's always that confusion. It should be second knowledge that what children used to read are sounds, not letters. So mistake number one, stop teaching letter names, focus on letter sounds. So let me see it on the comment section. Thank you, Blessing, for putting up that comment. Rather than focusing on letter names, focus on letter sounds. Letter sounds are so important, if not the most important concept in teaching children to read. So let's move to the next slide. The The next slide would be teaching the letters in alphabetical order. Now, teaching letters in alphabetical order, even though letters of or alphabet appear in an alphabetical order, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, this can be very confusing for children because most times letters that are visually similar sound alike and they are positioned closely. And this arrangement can be conflicting and confusing for children. Now, let me explain further. Instead of teaching children the sounds in alphabetical order, A after A, B after B, D after D, E like that, there is a unique grouping that makes it easy for children to be able to read when it is time for them to read. There is a unique grouping. One of the phonics programs that have done this fantastically is the Jolly Phonics program. So instead of doing the alphabetical order, they've been able to break it down into 7 groups. We have Satapin, Ka, go all like that till the 7th group. The reason is this: a lot of times when letters appear together, for instance, we know that the sounds A and E almost sound together and can be very, very, very confusing. The sounds B and D are almost together. A, B, C, D, B, B, D. They are close. B and D. They are close in sounds. B, D. Close in sounds. They are close in the way they look in their letter representations. The only difference is where the curve face. D, the curve faces the left. B, the curve faces the right. That is the only difference in each of these letters. Very similar in the way they look and in their sounds. P, very similar. So this is why we discourage parents from teaching sounds in alphabetical order. 41 of you in this call. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take a screenshot, share on your status so we can get more people in. Meanwhile, thank you so much for being here. Now, instead of focusing on teaching children their sounds in using the alphabetical order, you already understood why this is not productive. Focus on grouping it. In the challenge coming up, I'm going to teach you the most effective grouping. It is the Jolly Phonics grouping. You could even research it. Just Jolly Phonics grouping of sounds. We have the Satapin, S, A, T, E, P, N. Another reason why we encourage this grouping is that so children don't have to wait to learn all the sounds to be able to read. Just with group 1, which is Satapin, S, A, T, E, P, N. A beginning reader can read. So now for a quick assessment, that's why I'm your family teacher. For a quick assessment, I want you to quickly write in the comment section 3 words we can form from S, A, T, E, P, N. S, A, T, E, P, N. Can you give me 4 words that we can form? Just 4 from S, A, T, E, P, N. S, A, T, E, P, N. Right now, we can form the word pan. T, E, P, tip. Sit, sit. Nap, nap. Just from Satapin. So a child doesn't need to learn the 26 letters of the alphabet. They don't need to learn their sounds to begin to blend. Thank you. Grace says you were so on point. Thank you very much. I've been hoping someone will talk about this, especially in Nigeria. Yes, glad to be the one talking about it. Grace also says we have SAT, we have tip, we have pan, we have pin. Esther and Koyo says we have SAT. We have a number of words just from the first group. So if a child learns the first group and their phonemic awareness is developed, they will be able to blend it. So even before learning the rest 21 sounds, even before learning the rest 20 sounds, just learning these 6 sounds can get a child to start reading today, tomorrow. So please don't teach sounds alphabetically. Focus. Someone says rat. Did we say no? There's no satapen. Yes, is correct. It is correct. Cat is correct. Cat. Satapen. No. Cat is not correct. K is in the second group. Then we now have K. The C and K. In teach how to read, you understand this in a lot more details. We have we have for H. We have we have we have d. Yes, in the second group. In the third group, we have G, we have O, we have A as in you. We have we have and we have b in the third group. From the fourth group, we now have diagraphs pop up in Jolly Phonics. But you can eliminate the diagraphs and just teach the 26 letters. If you're teaching any child less than 4, we don't encourage introducing diagraphs till the child is up to 4. Yes, cat is not there. Yes. Can we have the letter sound on the screen? What I'll do for you, Justin, is that I'll post it on the group. Yeah, I'll post the flashcard on the group for you guys. Thank you, Healthy and Wealthy Living with V. Sat, Pan, Tan. So is not among. So it's not among. But you now understand, rather than teaching, if your focus is teaching a child to read and not just them knowing their alphabets, the focus should be on grouping the sounds using the Jolly Phonics grouping. You could also just type Jolly Phonics grouping of sounds. It's going to pop up on your screen on Google and you would have that. Yeah. So that is the second mistake that we make in teaching children to read. The next mistake would be is focusing on what's it called, lowercase, uppercase letters than lowercase letters. In teaching children sounds, please focus on lowercase letters. The reason is very simple and straight to the point. When we prioritize capital letters over lowercase letters, the child will be able to identify what they see. But in reading, 90% of text is in lowercase. This is very straight to the point. In reading, in actual reading, 90% of the text is lowercase. In reading, most times we only use uppercase for starting the word, starting the paragraph, starting the sentence, writing subheadings, writing headings. But the majority of what they will read in their beginner text is in lowercase. And we know that a child who has learned using the uppercase, yeah, when we now introduce the lowercase to them, it could forge a problem. It could forge a problem. So instead of focusing on uppercase, please, my advice, if you're in the school system, is to do it together. So whatever flashcard you're using must have the uppercase and the lowercase together. So the children know that even if you're improvising your own flashcard, they must do it together. Please take a screenshot, guys. I want to see your screenshot in the groups. Please tell people in the group and they should join us live that this class is so valuable. I trust you're having value. So please take a screenshot and send to the group while we continue. 90% of the text is represented using lowercase letters. 90% of the text is represented using lowercase letters. And if you're going to teach, please do it together. Don't isolate. And even if you should isolate, focus on lowercase. Because you're going to teach a child the whole grouping of sounds using the uppercase. Now, when it comes for them to read, because they're going to be able to read, they should be able to identify. Identification of sound is one thing to know the sound of heart. It's another thing to be able to see and tell that this is A. And A is a curve and a little stroke. This is B. And B is a stroke at the bum curve. This is K. And K is a curve. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the identification and learning of sounds must go hand in hand. Do not teach children their sounds abstractly. You could reinforce abstractly by going you could do that abstractly. But if you're going to teach for this child to be able to read, the focus identification must go with sounding. Identification must go with sounding. Identification must go with sounding. Identification must go with sounding at every point in time. identification must go with sounding the letters at every point in time. Please do not isolate these. Now, the last mistake parents make in teaching children to read is not giving them enough phonemic awareness drills. Now, what is phonemic awareness? The next one is ignoring phonemic awareness. Now, reading 90% of the time involves listening. And this is where phonemic awareness comes to play. Reading 90% of the time involves listening. Let's say it together, everybody. Reading 90% of the time involves listening. This is why in Jolly Phonics you will hear when we introduce blending and segmenting, you typically tell the child, listen for the word, listen for the word, listen for the word, listen for the word. Phonemic awareness refers to a child's ability to identify and manipulate individual sounds in words. Phonemic awareness helps children identify the individual sounds in words. Every word is made up of a sound of sounds. If you're teaching, this should be your chant. Every word is made up of a sound. It could be digraphs, it could be single letter sounds, it could be trigraphs, it could be consonant blends, it could be consonant clusters, it could be consonant digraphs, it could be VC sound patterns, it could be CV sound patterns, but every word is made up of a sound, even down to tricky words. The only reason why a lot of times tricky words are not blended out is because it's a lot more complex. But some school of thought even encourages that we should try to attempt to break down tricky words so children are able to identify the part of the word that is tricky. But I don't advise it for children who are younger. For example, the. We already know that TH says the digraphs th. It's only the E, instead of saying eh, it now gives the schwa sound. So we have the. Please, is this network from my end? My village people should leave me alone. Is this network from my end? Please, my village people, leave me alone. But guys, can you hear me? Amaka is complaining network. Abi, is it you? Is it you or me? Who is having the challenge? Is it you or is it me? Please, if you can hear me, let me know. Amaka is complaining on network. Okay? So, we've talked about that every word is made up of sound. So if your child is going to be able to read, please give me your feedback. No, it's not from your end. Thank you so much, Rukere. Now, if any child is going to be able to read, they should be able to break down words. This is a drill I introduced to my daughter even before she started learning her sounds. This is as my daughter had speech delay. She didn't talk till 3, but it didn't affect. I introduced it. So phonemic awareness is the ability for a child to be able to identify and manipulate individual sounds in words. So let's do this quick drill. The word cat. How many sounds do you hear in cat? Now, in teaching phonemic awareness, we stretch it. So for an adult, I can ask cat. But for a child, I won't ask cat. I will go, give me the sounds we have in cat. So they hear all the sounds. So quickly. How many sounds can you hear in cat? Cat, as in the animal, cat. Grace personified says 3. Thank you very much. Nemesis says 3. How many sounds can you hear in church? A place of worship. Church. How many sounds? Church. How many sounds can you hear in church? How many sounds can you hear in church? 3 as well. Beautiful. Now, how many sounds can you hear in threat? Threat. How many sounds can you hear in threat? Rukame says 5. Rukame says 5. Nelly says 2. In threat. So let me look at how you're going to say it. Say this in this. So 4 in threat. 4 in threat. When I say threat, I mean THREAT. Threat. Like to threaten someone. Threat. 4. We have 4 sounds. At. But we have how many letters? THREAT. 6. But we have 4 sounds. Now, in helping your child's phonemic awareness, in building, in every word they are exposed to, they must be able to break it down. We call this segmentation. The ability to break down the sounds. There are exercises you could use to do this. It was so funny then that I did it when my daughter was having her breakfast. Let's say I bring a cup of tea and I go, Mama, what sounds do we have in what? And I did as early as 2. What sounds do we have in cup? Cup. And she goes, cup. She didn't know her sounds. Remember that reading is first a listening skill before the ability to decode. Reading is first a listening skill. And how do we develop listening? It is through several phonemic awareness activities. Children learn to read through several phonemic awareness activities. Now, in phonemic awareness, it involves several things. It involves rhyming. Rhyming is what we've been doing. What sounds like cat, at? What sounds like rat, at? What sounds like mat, at? Then we have isolation. In isolation, the child is removing a part of a sound from the other. So we could tell the sound out, isolate the beginning sound from cat. The beginning sound is k. We have segmenting, breaking the sounds down. Give me the sounds in cat. What we've just been doing has been segmenting and counting them. We have deleting, asking a child to remove a sound. Asking a child to remove a sound. For example, remove the ending sound from the word cat. We have k. We remove t. What do we have? We have cat. That is phonemic awareness activities. Then we have substitution. Now, I have the word is mat. Mat. Remove the beginning sound from mat and replace it with r. So remove the beginning sound substitute it with r. So we go from mat to rat. My 4-year-old does have phonemic awareness so beautifully. In fact, what is helping her read her knowledge of the letter sounds and her phonemic awareness. So if you have a 2-year-old, you can begin to do phonemic awareness activities now. For your 2-year-old, you have a 3-year-old, you can begin to do your phonemic awareness activities. For now, how do we do this? How do we do this? Simple. This is the only this thing I'll give you. Every item you pick up for your child, everything they see, get them to tell you the beginning sound. It's simple like that. You bring a cup of milk. You go, this is milk. Milk. What is the first sound you hear? Reading is first a listening skill. Because when they would need to blend, what takes a child from doing to being able to know that is cat is not blending. Blending only links the sounds together. It's phonemic awareness that takes them from blending to now reading. So your knowledge of your child's knowledge of their phonemic awareness must be on point. It must be on point. So we've looked at the 5 mistakes: letter sounds instead of letter names, lowercase letters instead of uppercase letters, and best case scenario, they should be taught together. If you look at most flashcards, you'll see that it's together. So the child is able to differentiate the uppercase and lowercase and know that they are basically the same sound. not teaching alphabetically, rather focus on jolly phonics groupings, because with that, a child is going to be able to read ASAP as soon as possible. The next thing you should focus on, please help me take a screenshot and share on the group. I would really appreciate that. Please help me take a screenshot. Now we're 38. Don't wait till we're 3. Please take a screenshot and share to the group. Thank you very much. Now, we looked at the complexity of the English language. Now, this takes me to the last slide for today, where I now share my 3-step method in teaching children to read. This is an original framework that I have used that works 100% of the time. My 3-step framework in teaching children to read. Number 1, build their phonemic awareness ability. Number 1, build, like focus on phonemic awareness. Even if your child is able to identify their sounds, if they're not able to identify their sounds, even while they're learning their sounds, do a lot of phonemic awareness drills. During the Teach Your Child to Read challenge that starts on Friday, we're going to be doing a lot of this. During the Teach Your Child to Read challenge that starts on Friday, the Teach Your Child to Read challenge is a 5-day challenge that I have designed to take you from not knowing what to do. Because if you notice, we are rushing with this session, coupled with the network problems here and there. We're rushing with this session. So what I'm going to be doing on Friday is to break this down bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. In fact, I've had parents who attended my Teach Your Child to Read challenge and have now become reading tutors. Top of my mind is Mrs. Esther Adeoba. She has gone from just that 5-day masterclass to running what she calls the reading hub, where she gathers children. It's like a club where children learn to read. She was able to help her 6-year-old, her 3-year-old learn to read in a month space. Right now, she has taken that particular skill and has given it out to tons of children. She's beginning to earn from a class of 2,000 after 2021. Top of my mind again is my friend Christabel. Hey sis, can you hear me? My friend Christabel. Christabel has been able to teach her child to read, and not just a child. She was telling me, it was in fact, fun fact, the reason why I'm doing Teach Your Child to Read challenge again, because of my friend Christabel. The girl thing has been on my head. So if you're here, please tell Christabel thank you. Every day we talk, she's like, just bring back that challenge. It helped my child. 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 It can help other children. I have a daughter who came premature. If you know me, I have shared this story because I believe that my testimony is an encouragement to tons of parents. My daughter came premature, and as of September, she didn't know I had sent her to school, and of course, like every parent that expected the school to do the job, it was a fantastic school, but they didn't have the skill of teaching children with other learning styles. They didn't have the skill of teaching children with other divergent learning styles. So my daughter, who had a different learning style and a different learning persona, suffered. So she came into my school as of September, Learnville. I remember the first day in class, her teacher came to me and was like, Ma, Vicky doesn't know anything. And I laughed and I told her, yes, she's going to be our guinea pig. Right now, my daughter reads so beautifully well, and she is beginning to read words with diagrams at 4 plus 4 months. She turned 4. Her corrected age was in March. As at September, she didn't know ah. She didn't know ah. That is the magic of what I teach in the Teach Your Child to Read challenge. So I remember in 2021, a mom reached out to me on Facebook. Luckily, she was in Uyo, so I went to her house for 1 month. Before, I couldn't continue the session. I could just break it because her distance was too far from my home. And my daughter had diplegia at the time. She was 2 plus, so she couldn't work. So I had to carry her. It was just stressful, so I had to stop. But this mom got back to me in less than 2 weeks and was like, guess what? My daughter is beginning to read. I have another mom who brought her child to Learnville because she couldn't read. Mrs. Reverend Imabong. Within a month, Adriel, her beautiful daughter, was already reading. Now, you would say that this is just my child, but it wasn't just my child. Another 4-year-old in my daughter's class, if you view my status, you will know what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you fluff. I do a lot of designs. I do graphics designs. I work with the parenting academy, so I do a lot of the designs in the academy, and we're running the certificate like a pro right now. So I'm doing a lot of designs. So just yesterday, I was trying to create the review for sex educate like a pro, and my daughter comes because she reads everything that she says, even if she doesn't get it, but she just tries to blend with the knowledge of sound she has. So she went X before she could pronounce the word. I was like, Mama, no, this one, don't read it. Because most times she reads and she asks you the meaning. So I was like, Mbok, don't ask me. Don't ask me that one. I don't want to ask. I don't want to answer this one. Please don't ask me. So she was like, why? I said, nothing, but don't read this one. I'm busy. I just covered it up with I'm busy. But that is how much my daughter has become enthusiastic towards reading. Last week we ran the Fathers Conference, and I was in if you Fathers Conference and you saw the flights, you have seen the Now Live. When I was designing that Now Live, she just came and was like, of course, she didn't know, she hadn't gotten to the point to know that E at the end of the word is silent. She was like, live. She didn't even call the E. I was so proud. It is to show you that what I teach in the Teach Your Child to Read challenge, it works like magic. I am a fantastic teacher. I don't need anybody to tell me. And if I sit with you for 5 days, if I sit with you in sessions like this, even more detailed sessions like this for 5 days, some of you will begin to earn. I left paid employment, full-time teaching employment in 2021. I have not had cost to go back. My skill has paid off for me. I've done online coaching, I've done personal coaching for teachers. What I'm teaching you works, and I'm not teaching you in a complicated manner. My teachings are simple because I know that I'm teaching parents who might not even know the sound of ah. So when we are learning sounds on day 2 of the Teach Your Child to Read challenge, which is on Saturday, we will break down sounds. I give you strategies for teaching these sounds. Most importantly, in every framework or blueprint I create, I am able to merge it in such a way that parents are able to use the knowledge of what I'm teaching and incorporate it to their parenting journey. Because I know that you don't have time. Even if that, we shouldn't say we don't have time. Coach catches me. But you guys understand what I mean. I know that you have a lot going on for your life. And you're okay outsourcing to a third party, which we looked at, learned health lessons in the beginning. Even if that is a factor for you and your child. But imagine if you could commit just 15 minutes every day. 15 minutes. I know a mom who saw my status, that clownish status I put up in the morning, and she was like, hey, I need to help my 4-year-old read. I smiled in my heart because a mom, I don't know if she's on this call, she sent me a message that just by following she didn't attend the challenge. The challenge held in 2021. I did 2020, I did 2021. This year is 3.0. I didn't do last year. But just by these challenges, but by the strategies that I've been sharing on my social media handles at kidslearningcoach.ng on Instagram and Precious James Ogbonna, Kids Learning Coach on Facebook, she's able to teach her child to read. So what I am teaching you works. It's a simple framework so I know someone here is asking also, okay, my child can blend, but they have issues with comprehension and fluency. The class is divided into 2. One part will be for beginning readers, and the final part will be for advanced readers. So there's 1, 2, 3 beginning readers, there's 4 and 5 advanced readers. I'm also creating a step-by-step home plan, some sort of a calendar or a curriculum, that you can take and know that Monday week 1, we're learning this. Monday week 2, we're learning this. So I have taken on the responsibility of breaking this down into a step-by-step plan. So it no longer becomes cumbersome. I say that the Teach Your Child to Read challenge is the first of its kind. You won't see this, you don't have enough educators with my experience, breakdown learning, understanding the parenting approach. You don't see a lot of us out there. Look, you could take this to bank for sure, and I'll cash it out. You don't see a lot of parents or a lot of educators who are able to break down a framework and you were able to run with it. In February, I ran the Teach Your Child to Write. Justin is asking about writing. Yes, I had a course, but the challenge was that I didn't record it. It was a WhatsApp class, which was a mistake. I should have recorded. But that class will be coming up before September. So please look out for it. Now, that class, a parent just took what she learned, ran with it, came back about 1 month later. She ran with it during the holiday, came back and said to me that her child's, I post any of the things on my social media handles. Just go there, you find. The mom sent me a voice and I didn't ask for it. I don't know how to ask for reviews that much because I honestly have a lot going on in my life. Like I have a lot. If you know what I have to do on a daily basis to be here today. So I have a lot going on. She voluntarily, I don't know, she should be on this call. Mrs. Nena, she sent me a review how her child's teacher was asking her what she did to improve his handwriting. So the strength of my work is that it works. The strength of the frameworks I'm able to create is that it works. And you don't have to spend 1 hour teaching a child. Your child can do it while they're eating. They can do it on a drive, even down to helping children learn maths. I wrote Maths Made Me Easy in December. And the idea I had was just how you can take maths principles and incorporate it when you're cooking, when you're having a bath, when your child is having a bath, during a drive. My daughter is able to learn maths through, in LearnView, we propagate experiential learning. So it's not always about the cramming. What we propagate a lot is experiential learning. So by day, day to day, my daughter learned colors, she learned shapes in our environment. So Teach Your Child to Read Challenge starts on Friday. I think I've been able to convince you that I know what to teach you. I know how to take you. If you are an educator, please sign up for this class. I don't know how many teaching classes, I don't know how many educators that have the experience I have that put a class as 3,000. I don't know. And I've told you, I don't know who the somebody will be. But my personal one-on-one coaching is not less than 50,000 naira. It's not. But you have a class of 3,000. I know someone came to me for the person, now the coach her. And when I told her the price that I was charging, she got angry. She legit got angry. And I wasn't sorry. I wasn't sorry because what I teach works. And my time is so precious. And if I'm going to give anybody a personal time for you, you have to pay for it. But right now, I'm not asking you to pay 50,000. I'm not even asking you to pay 10,000, which is what I would have comfortably priced this, and people are going to pay. Between now and 8 a.m. tomorrow, we already have over 40 parents in the group waiting for Friday. So I'm not telling you so you come on board and that's not what I'm doing. Between now and Friday, class starts on Friday exactly by 8 p.m. But between now and 8 a.m. tomorrow, the window to pay 3,000 opens again. 3,000 is not the current price. In fact, parents who did not pay 3,000 were going to come to my DM. I'm ready for them. But this is for those of you who are just hearing of this for the first time. If you paid the other price, don't come to me. You heard of the early bird window. Please don't come to me. I will chase you away with my bulala. That's just on a lighter note. But for now, within the next couple of hours, you have the window to pay just not 10,000, not even 50,000 that I charge, just 3,000. If you live outside Nigeria, we have a payment link where you can pay I think about $6 something cents. The same we have where you can, if you live in the UK, you could pay. If you have someone in Nigeria who could do the transfer for you. I have parents from Dubai, I have parents from Malaysia, I have parents from Dubai, Ghana, the UK, Canada in that challenge. So it's not just a Nigerian thing. What I teach is universal. You get to Ghana, you still use that same knowledge. So the details will be shared to you in the group. Please don't do that learn helplessness again. Your family teacher, I have put myself there. I am here to guide you. I am here to help you. I am here to demystify learning theories and principles. I remember one of my tribers came to me and said that, whoa, that at this point in her life, she thinks she can go apply to a school and they would take her because of the knowledge she has gotten from me. I've been benevolent enough to impact tons of parents who have seen a ripple effect in their children's academic journey. You are next. Now, you don't have to come to Lenville if you're not in Uyo. If you're in Uyo, Lenville is the place to be. We're a young school, but we do know what we do. If I was to sound like Yabarakat, we know what we do. We're a young school, but please, we know what we do. If you have anyone in Uyo, please tell them about Lenville. You have the icing on the cake for parents in Lenville is myself. And I say this with all humility. I'm not just knowledgeable, I am passionate about what I do. And I take on every child who enters our doors in Lenville as a personal project. So if you have anybody who's looking for a school to attend, if your child is already in a fantastic school, that's beautiful. Please stay where you are. But if you're not seeing what you want to see, if you're thinking, if you're checking, please try us out at Lenville. We do know what we do. So now I've talked about that. Community managers, please help me share the details for registration in the groups and on the comment section as well, so I can just copy and post so we pin it. All right. Now let's quickly look at my 3-step framework. My straightforward 3-step framework for teaching children to read. This framework, number 1, phonemic awareness. Even before teaching your children their sounds, focus on phonemic awareness activities. Before teaching children their sounds, do a lot of phonemic awareness drills. It is so important on your child's reading journey. During the Teach Your Child to Read challenge, we're going to break this phonemic awareness down. We will look at it, we will break it, you will know what to do. If you have a 2-year-old, you know the activities you can begin to do, even beyond the ones I've shared with you. If you have a 3-year-old, you will know what to do. We even have phonemic awareness activities for adult readers. I teach adults to read as well. I teach adults to read as well. You're going to be able to catch the replay Onyinye, so you don't have a problem at all. I teach adults to read, and it's still the same principle. It's still the same principle. So build phonemic awareness. It's the ability to manipulate, it's the ability to segment, it's the ability to delete, it's the ability to blend sounds. Number 2, teach the letter sounds using a multi-sensory approach. Teach the letter sounds using a multi-sensory approach. Let me say this again. Teach the letter sounds. Don't teach the letter sounds abstractly. Don't teach them visually alone. Don't even teach it kinesthetically alone. Teach it as a continuum. Teach it as a system. Teach it together. Yes, thank you, Jamila. You could use the same link you have for replay. Teach it using a multi-sensory approach. So your children are using their auditory sense, they are hearing the sounds. You're creating rhymes. Jolly Phonics is my go-to for a multi-sensory approach, a comprehensive multi-sensory approach. During the Teach Your Child to Read, I'm also going to show you what to do. You'll also expect explainer videos teaching you the sounds. In multisensory, in Jolly Phonics, we have teaching children to learn with the sounds, with stories, so they can use their imaginations. We have actions. So if you remember, I do this unconsciously. We have the R, we have the T, we have the E, we have the P. So if a child forgets the sound, they won't forget the action. If a child forgets the action, they won't forget the snake is in the grass, the snake is in the grass, the snake is in the grass. They won't forget it. If a child forgets the snake is in the grass, they won't forget the story you told them of a crawly snake that went under the grass during a picnic or any of those funny stories. If a child forgot the sound, the action for ah, they'll remember answer my answer my arm, like that. So teach letter sounds using a multi-sensory approach. Teaching young children should never be done, what's it called now? Teaching young children should never, ever, ever be done abstractly. You must have resources. If you join the challenge, I'm going to give you a drive. Last week, was it last week? I think beginning of this week, I posted a video on my status of my daughter learning to blend with my system. You're going to have access to probably over 40. If you had access to the toddler learning kit, you would have a picture of what that is. You just need to put it on a big screen, on an iPad, on their iPad, on a laptop, on your television. Just project it and get your child to blend a way. Get your child to identify their sound. So it must be fun. It must be whatever you're doing with the letter sounds must be emotionally charged. Whatever you're doing with the letter sounds must be emotionally charged. It must be exciting. So teach letter sounds using the multisensory approach. Number 3, blending and segmenting. The last on the list of teaching children to read would be blending and segmenting. Blending is where we now piece all these things together. The child has gained the listening skills. So while they are blending, they can listen for the sound. The child has learned a comprehensive knowledge of their letter sounds. So they know their sounds. That's on a second note. Number 3, they can now blend. Blending is simply building words together. Building or linking sounds together to form words. We have individual sounds k, a, t. Blending, we have k, a, t. Then they now listen with the phonemic awareness skill, which would now give them the word cat. We have t, r, e, tree, ch, ch. They now listen. So blending and segmenting is important. Quick tips: how do we teach blending and segmenting? Start small. Start with word families. Thank you, Rukeme, for being my scribe. Start with word families. A, a, t, a, p. A, at, ap, ak, ad. Then you go CV. B, a, k, a, d, a, f, a, r, a. If a child learns r, a, ra, adding the t, rat, they listen for the sound rat. So start simple. The next one is that make the sounds continuous. If you've heard me say the sound, you've never heard me say ma, ma, ma. I don't say it. I go continuous. It's not as if saying the ma sound is wrong. Saying the ma sound is not wrong. It's not wrong at all. But making it continuous makes it easy for your child to blend. So instead of going mat, we go at. It's easy for them to string and listen for the word that they are trying to blend. Remove the from all sounds if you can. Instead of going remove the and go make it breathy, make it stretch it, make it continuous. Instead of going whisper it, make it airy. That's the word. Instead of going no. Instead of going make it continuous. There are several other blending rules that you'll be learning on day 3 of the Teach Your Child to Read. I have another fun way of teaching children blending with the Fred Talks. You're going to learn about that strategy. We have the point and read strategy. We have the pencil point strategy. There's a lot of strategies in teaching children to blend. You would only learn this if you are able to join the Teach Your Child to Read challenge, which starts on Friday. This challenge is revolutionary. From now till 8 a.m. tomorrow, you get to pay just 3,000 naira. From 8 a.m. tomorrow, the price rises to 4,000. I'm not going to call it back because people are already paying the 4,000. I'm only opening up this early bird window for parents that are here who didn't hear of the early bird window. If you missed the early bird window and you paid 4,000, please don't blame me. I give ample time for you to pay the early bird. So please, Teach Your Child to Read is here. Do not miss this opportunity. I honestly am a very busy educator. I have a lot of expressions and a lot of things I do. And I don't do a lot of these challenges a lot of the time. This is taking me time. This is taking me effort. This is taking me a lot to do. So please, if you're interested, if you know you need to learn more, you need to learn more phonemic awareness activities, you want to learn building comprehension and fluency. If you were in the free masterclass, if you joined the masterclass group, I saw a lot of people complain that the children were now reading, but it was as if their reading had breaks. Those children lack comprehension and fluency skills, which is what we're also going to look at day 4 and day 5 of the Teach Your Child to Read challenge. Now we've come to the end of this masterclass. Let me know how this class was for you. Was it exciting? Was it eye-opening? Did you learn anything at all? Let me see it in the comment section. I also would like to take questions at this point. 3 beautiful questions and we will call it a night. Thank you so much for being with me. We've been here for almost 2 hours. Please, while I wait for your questions, please follow me on all social media at Kids Learning Coach. On Facebook, simply type Precious James Ogbonna and my profile is going to come up. I have support groups. I have the Learn Aid parent support. That we don't chat, I'm just there to support you. So when I have classes coming up, you're the first to know, and you would always enjoy what I call Tribers discount from on there. If you're in the group, you'll be the first to know when I come on there and I do on the class lectures. Parents there are one of the most intentional parents I know. So please, I'm going to leave all of these details in the group. So you either join the parent support, you follow me on social media, or you join the Teach Your Child to Read challenge. So let me know if you have your questions while we go for a quick water break. I'll be back in the next few minutes to take your questions. Okay, so I take it that we don't have any questions. So thank you so much for being here. To the over 40 something people who were live at the point, thank you so much. Timmy Topper, I guess you are on the group. We're going to share all of those details in the groups. We're going to share all of those details in the groups. It's good to be here. Thank you so much, Mercy, for being here. Focus on the letter sounds and not the letter names. Yes, letter sounds and not the letter names. If you've been teaching the letter names, incorporate it together. Go, the A is the name and A is the sound way. Yeah, so explain to them. I also have a free ebook. It's called The ABCs of Teaching Your Child to Read. I'm also going to share it to the group for all of you to get details. Some of these things I've explained in the group as well. So thank you so much for being here. I assume we don't have more questions. So you're going to find the details to the challenge in the group. Yeah, okay, question. WhatsApp group. He's a stammerer. Value loaded. Thank you guys. Thank you. I'm glad you got value. Okay, I have a question here. So when you say he's not good with English in grade 4, I am assuming that you're not referring to reading now. You're referring to English grammar. You're referring to English comprehension. You're referring to English, what's it called? You're referring to English grammar, comprehension, vocabulary. I don't think being a stammerer can, what's it called? Being a stammerer will not affects your child's ability to navigate the English language. Except when you say read, even down to reading, even with being a stammerer, if he's taught right, it won't affect. Except this would only happen if a child doesn't have a good foundation. I would always say that learning is a continuum. So what they learned in literacy in early years will still come back, to what they're learning in pure English language, in to what they're learning in pure English language, whether it's English grammar, English comprehension, English literature, vocabulary, it will always come back. So this is more based on teaching. The stammering does not. So you want to look at the foundation, you want to look at the knowledge that he was exposed to earlier on and see how you can cover up any foundations, yeah? Any foundations that he's lacking. So that would be my response. Yes, Esther should be. Thank you so much, Mrs. Nena. See you in the challenge on Friday. So I assume there's no more questions. Jamila, please give me a clear. There are no more questions. So we could call this a night. Thank you again for being here. Teach Your Child to Read starts on Friday. You want to be here. Like, one of the exciting parts of Teach Your Child to Read is when parents now begin to learn the sounds. It's almost exciting. I think every parent should be able to know their sounds. I don't just teach you the sounds, I teach you the mouth placement. I teach you my hacks for being able to recognize any sound. So I take it down that we don't have any more questions. Okay, there's a question up, Ma. I've responded to it. If you meant the question on the child who's not doing well in English, let me quickly check the group. If you meant the child who's not doing well in English language, they've also been responded to, I guess. I've responded to them. If that's the question you meant, I've responded to them. Okay. Okay, so I think that we don't have any other questions. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you all at the Teach Your Child to Read challenge that starts on Friday. What books can I get for my 5-year-old? If your child 5-year-old is still learning to read, you want to focus on beginner to intermediate reading. Then beginner to intermediate reading books. I don't have any books I could say get this book, get this book, get this book. But look at books that are beginning to incorporate a lot of diagrams and alternative sounds for them. Also consider your child's learning style while getting books for them, because we know that the learning style of a child can contribute. It can contribute to how much and how well they will take to read a particular copy. If a child is visual, you want to look at pictures with a lot of visual representations. Fantastic. So if it's visual, you want to look at books that have a lot of visual representations in them. If the child is auditory, you also want to blend it with visual and words that are books that are wordy, that are text. Because auditory learners would want to read and read aloud and all of that. If you have a kinesthetic learner, you want to look at books that have a lot of actions, books that have a lot of imagination. So yeah, that's just my hack. Understand your child. If your child is visual, like Reina says, her son is visual, look for a lot of pictorial books, age-appropriate books with enough text, with sufficient text. Then of course, get those. If you have a younger child, I always advise pop-up books, because when we're reading to younger learners, we're not looking at the word, we're looking at their ability to communicate and express. We're looking at their ability to come up with stories on their own. Looking at ability of the child, rather, to come up with stories individually by themselves. Okay, so that is it for younger learners. Look for pop-up books, look for hardboard books, look for tactile books, books that have sensorial elements to them. So when they're talking about brushing, you might see a brush where your child can feel the bristles of the brush. Look for those tactile books, books that have to do with a lot of feelings. At 5, it depends on his reading prowess. You say he reads books with few lines. It depends on his reading prowess. So if he has gained fluency at age 5, it's not a problem. Mrs. Reina, it's not a problem at all. If he has gained reading fluency and comprehension, he should be able to do more. But if he's still blending and he's still looking at just diagraphs, he has not started being exposed to words that have alternative sounds, reading those short books with few lines is still very inappropriate for him. So remember, we're not trying to put every child in a box. It would depend on their own ability. Yeah, so I guess it's time to call it a night. Thank you so much for joining me, to the over 100 of you who have joined this session since we started. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found it valuable, and I hope to see you at the Teach Your Child to Read Challenge. God bless you and have a good night rest. Bye bye.